If you've been hearing more and more people talk about bone broth powder lately, there's actually a good reason for it. It's one of those wellness products that keeps showing up everywhere in morning routines, gut health conversations, joint support discussions, and even beauty from within trends. At first, bone broth might sound old-fashioned, and honestly, it is. For generations, people have slowly simmered bones, connective tissue, and herbs to make rich, nourishing broth. It was simple, comforting food, something people used long before modern supplements ever existed. But now, that same traditional idea has been turned into something much more convenient: bone broth powder. And today, I want to break down exactly what bone broth powder is, why so many people use it, how it compares with collagen and protein powders, and what you should know before adding it to your daily routine. So let's get into it. What exactly is bone broth powder? Bone broth powder starts out as regular liquid bone broth. Usually it's made by simmering animal bones, often beef or chicken, along with cartilage, connective tissue, water, and sometimes herbs or vegetables. The important part is the cooking time. This isn't a quick process. The broth is usually simmered slowly for 12 to 24 hours, sometimes even longer. That long cooking process helps release naturally occurring compounds from the bones and connective tissues. Things like collagen, gelatin, amino acids, and minerals gradually move into the broth. After that, the liquid is filtered, concentrated, and then carefully dried into a shelf-stable powder. And that powder is what you buy as bone broth powder. The big advantage is convenience. Instead of spending an entire day simmering broth at home, you can simply scoop some powder into hot water, a smoothie, or a recipe. That's why so many people like it. It gives you the traditional idea of bone broth without the time commitment. Why has bone broth become so popular? A lot of people like bone broth because it does several things at once. It isn't just viewed as a protein powder. It's often used because it combines protein, collagen-building nutrients, and amino acids in one simple product. Many wellness enthusiasts use it because it fits easily into popular eating styles like paleo, keto, and intermittent fasting. It's usually low in carbs, it often contains no dairy, and many clean products are also free from gluten and soy. But the real reason it gets attention comes down to three main areas: gut support, joint support, and skin support. Let's talk about those one by one. Bone broth and gut health. One of the biggest reasons people use bone broth powder is digestive support. Your digestive system does much more than just break down food. It plays a huge role in nutrient absorption, immune balance, and overall wellness. Bone broth naturally contains amino acids like glycine, glutamine, and proline. These compounds are often studied for their role in supporting the gut lining and helping maintain normal intestinal barrier function. That's one reason bone broth has become popular with people who want gentle digestive support. A lot of people especially like using it when they're trying to simplify their eating habits. For example, during a period of eating lighter foods, following an anti-inflammatory eating style, or simply when they want something warm and easy on the stomach. Now, it's important to keep expectations realistic. Bone broth isn't a medicine. It's not a treatment for digestive disease. But many people enjoy it as a supportive food, something simple that fits into a broader wellness routine. And honestly, sometimes that simplicity is part of the appeal. A warm cup of broth can feel satisfying without feeling heavy. Bone broth, collagen, and joint support. This is where bone broth gets especially interesting. Collagen is the main structural protein found in connective tissues. That includes cartilage, tendons, ligaments, skin, and even parts of our bones. As we get older, collagen production naturally changes. That's one reason joint stiffness, reduced mobility, or slower recovery can become more noticeable. Bone broth contains collagen-related compounds and collagen-building amino acids. That's why many people use it as part of a routine focused on joint comfort and mobility.
Research on collagen peptides suggests they may help support joint function, flexibility, occasional stiffness, and exercise comfort, especially around the knees. For active people, that can be especially appealing. Athletes, gym goers, walkers, runners, or even just people who want to stay comfortable doing everyday movement often look for nutritional ways to support their joints. And that's one reason bone broth powder keeps showing up in wellness routines. It's not magic, but it can be a practical source of nutritional support.
Bone broth and skin health. Now let's talk about the beauty side of things. A lot of people don't think of bone broth as a skincare product, but collagen is one of the reasons it enters that conversation. Collagen plays a major role in skin structure. It helps support firmness, elasticity, and hydration. As we age, natural collagen levels gradually change. That's why skin can start to feel less firm or look a little less smooth over time. Regular collagen intake has been studied for its potential role in supporting skin hydration and elasticity. Because bone broth naturally provides collagen-related compounds, many people like using it as part of a beauty from within approach. Not because it creates overnight results, but because consistency matters. And that's a big theme with bone broth in general. It tends to work best as a daily habit, not as a quick fix. Is bone broth a good protein source? Yes, but with an important note. Bone broth powder does provide protein, and many people like it because it's a very clean source of protein. It's usually simple, minimally processed, and often easier for some people than heavier protein shakes. But it's not exactly the same as whey protein or a complete muscle-building protein. Bone broth protein is rich in certain amino acids, but it's not considered a complete protein because it lacks enough of some essential amino acids. So if your main goal is maximizing muscle growth after training, traditional protein powders may still have advantages. But if your goal is general wellness, joint support, gut support, or adding some clean protein to your day, bone broth can be a useful option. Bone broth powder versus collagen powder versus regular protein powder. A lot of people get confused here, so let's make it simple. Bone broth powder. Bone broth powder gives you a broader nutritional profile. It usually contains collagen-related compounds, amino acids, minerals, and other naturally occurring components from slow-simmered bones and connective tissue. It's more of a whole food style supplement. Collagen powder. Collagen powder is more concentrated and standardized. It usually delivers specific collagen peptides in higher amounts per scoop that way. That makes it popular for skin, joints, and connective tissue support. Protein powder. Traditional protein powders like whey or plant protein are mainly designed to support muscle protein synthesis. They usually contain all essential amino acids. So the right choice depends on your goal. If your goal is muscle building, protein powder usually makes more sense. If your goal is collagen support, collagen powder is more targeted. If you want a broader wellness option that supports joints, skin, digestion, and adds clean protein, bone broth powder is often the one people choose. Easy ways to use bone broth powder every day. One reason bone broth powder has become so popular is because it's easy to use. 1. A warm broth drink. This is the simplest option. Just mix 1 scoop into hot water. You can add sea salt, black pepper, turmeric, garlic powder, or herbs if you want more flavor. It makes a warm, savory drink that many people enjoy in the morning or afternoon. 2. Smoothies. Unflavored bone broth powder can also work surprisingly well in smoothies. Try blending it with unsweetened almond milk or coconut milk, frozen berries, avocado, spinach, cinnamon, or ginger. That gives you protein without extra sugar. 3. Soups, stews, and sauces. This is probably one of the easiest ways to use it. You can stir bone broth powder into soups, stews, chili, curry, pasta sauce, gravy. It adds nutrition without changing your routine much. And honestly, that's one of the smartest ways to stick with any wellness habit. Make it easy. What should you look for in a quality bone broth powder? Not all bone broth powders are the same. Quality matters. Here are a few things worth checking. Look for pasture-raised or grass-fed sources. Better sourcing usually means better quality ingredients. Check the ingredient list. A simple product is usually best. Ideally, you want ingredients you recognize. Not lots of fillers, sweeteners, gums, artificial flavors, or unnecessary additives. Watch the sodium. Some products can be surprisingly salty, so check the label if you're trying to limit sodium. Third-party testing matters. This helps confirm product quality and screening for contaminants like heavy metals. That's especially important with supplements. Bone broth powder isn't a miracle product, but that's actually part of why many people like it. It's simple, it's practical, and it fits easily into everyday life. For people looking for gentle digestive support, nutritional support for joints, skin-supportive collagen compounds, and a clean source of protein, bone broth powder can be a useful addition to a balanced wellness routine. The biggest thing to remember is consistency. No supplement replaces healthy eating, movement, sleep, or overall lifestyle habits. But sometimes a small daily ritual can make it easier to stay on track. And for many people, that's exactly where bone broth fits in. If you're thinking about trying bone broth powder, especially if you have a medical condition, are pregnant, or are taking medications, it's always smart to speak with a qualified healthcare professional first.